They're not ignoring you. They're overwhelmed by what they feel when it comes to you. Right now, the strongest energy coming from them is this simple truth: I can't face you. And that doesn't come from a place of not caring. It comes from feeling too much. There is someone deeply connected to you who has been thinking about you intensely. They feel pulled toward you. They miss your presence. They imagine being near you. But when it comes to actually standing in front of you, something inside them tightens. From a distance, they can manage. Over text, they can control their words. On the phone, they can hide the tremble in their voice. But face to face, that's different. When they picture sitting across from you, looking into your eyes, they feel exposed. It's almost like your presence dissolves the mask they try to wear. You make it hard for them to pretend they don't care. And that vulnerability scares them. There may have been plans that didn't happen, a meeting that was postponed, a conversation that was delayed or canceled. It feels like something was meant to come together, and at the last moment, they pulled their energy back. You might have felt confused or even rejected when that happened. But the truth is, they stepped back because the emotions were stronger than they expected. They are afraid of what they might say if they're truly honest with you. They're afraid that once they start speaking from their heart, they won't be able to stop. This is someone who overthinks heavily when it comes to you. Your energy makes them analyze everything: their words, their body language, their intentions. They want to show up confidently, but when it comes to you, their emotions override logic. They feel pressure not because you are demanding, but because what they feel for you is real. And real feelings require courage. There is also something else happening in their world right now. It's almost like external energy is stirring things up. People around them are asking questions, bringing up love, mentioning relationships. Even if they don't say your name directly, the conversations somehow circle back to you in their mind. It's catching them off guard. They didn't expect others to be curious. They didn't expect outside influences to trigger thoughts about you so strongly. This curiosity from others is making them uncomfortable. It feels like coincidence after coincidence, like subtle reminders that they can't escape what they feel. It may even feel spiritual to them, like too many signs happening at once. And instead of feeling excited, they feel unsettled. Because now, this connection doesn't feel casual anymore. It feels significant. There is a noticeable shift in how they view you now compared to before. In the past, they may have tried to keep things simple, light, or controlled. But now, they're realizing this connection runs deeper. And that realization is intimidating. It forces them to question themselves, to question their readiness, to question what this truly means. If communication has been inconsistent, if they've been distant or unclear, it's not because they don't care. It's because they are processing something intense. They're trying to understand why you affect them the way you do, why being around you feels different from anyone else, why even external conversations seem to point back to you. They are not cold. They are not indifferent. They are not rejecting you. They are overwhelmed. They are standing at the edge of deeper truth, and they know that once they face you, once they allow themselves to be fully present with you, everything will shift. And that kind of shift requires bravery they are still building within themselves. Right now, they are confused. They are curious. They are uneasy. But beneath all of that, there is something undeniable. They feel you. There's someone in your life who appears strong, confident, and emotionally controlled on the outside. To most people, they seem steady and unshaken. They handle their responsibilities, they manage their emotions, and they rarely let anything visibly affect them. But when it comes to you, something shifts. The truth is simple, even if they would never say it out loud. You are their weakness. This person carries very deep feelings for you that they haven't fully resolved. These emotions didn't just pass through them lightly. They settled in their heart. And what's interesting is that you don't even have to do anything to trigger it. You don't have to chase. You don't have to constantly communicate. Even from a distance, your energy impacts them. It's almost like your presence lingers in their world whether you're physically there or not. What makes this even more noticeable is that people around them seem to pick up on it. Friends may casually ask about their love life. Family members might make small comments or tease them. Coworkers could bring up relationships in conversation without knowing how personal it feels. These moments may seem random, but for this person, they hit something deeper. Every time your energy is indirectly brought up, It reminds them of what they've been trying to keep controlled. They are used to being composed. They are used to being emotionally steady. But when your name is mentioned or when they think about you, their energy changes. There's a softness there that they don't show easily. When they are in your presence, they may feel less guarded, more exposed, even slightly nervous. It's not weakness in a negative sense, it's vulnerability. And vulnerability is not something they are comfortable displaying. If they have been moving slowly or acting cautiously, it's not because they don't care. It's because they care more than they expected to. You affect them in a way that disrupts their usual emotional balance. They question why this connection feels so intense. They wonder why your energy continues to surface in their life, especially now. There is also a strong masculine and feminine energy dynamic between you. What's important to understand is that this person is more emotionally aware than they appear. They may present themselves as logical and strong, but internally they are intuitive and sensitive. They feel things deeply. They notice subtle emotional shifts. They sense when something is significant. That's why they recognized you early. Even if they didn't say it, they felt that you were different. They could sense your presence in a way that felt familiar and powerful. When someone is emotionally aware like this, they can quickly identify a strong feminine energy in another person. And they saw that in you. However, being emotionally aware also makes them cautious. When emotions are intense, they don't rush. They think. They hold back. With others, they might express themselves more openly because the feelings don't feel as overwhelming. With you, it's different. The connection feels meaningful, and that makes them protective of their heart. The more they try to push these feelings down, the more your energy seems to show up around them. People bring up relationships. Situations remind them of you. Small moments trigger memories. It's almost as if your presence is woven into their daily reality. Even strangers may make comments that feel oddly accurate, as if they can sense that this person is emotionally connected to someone. They may never directly tell you that you are their weakness. They may never openly admit how deeply you affect them. But their hesitation, their careful pace, their emotional restraint, all of it reveals the truth. You reach a part of them that not many people have access to. And when someone realizes that another person has that kind of impact on them, they don't move lightly. They move carefully. They analyze their feelings. They question their timing. They try to understand why this bond feels so strong and why it continues to resurface no matter how much they try to control it. Right now, they are navigating the space between protecting their heart and allowing themselves to fully feel what this connection truly means. They are not okay right now, and the intensity of what they're feeling is something they never prepared for. On the outside, they may look fine. They're still going about their daily routine. They're answering messages, showing up to work, laughing in conversations, acting like nothing has changed. But behind closed doors, when it's just them and their thoughts, something very powerful is unfolding. There's a heaviness in their chest they can't explain, a restlessness in their mind that doesn't go away. It feels like something has been activated inside them, and they don't know how to turn it off. The confusing part for them is that this shift feels emotional, intuitive, almost spiritual in nature. It's not logical. It's not something they can analyze and solve. It's something they feel, and that alone makes them uncomfortable. If they are someone who usually relies on control, structure, or rational thinking, this wave of emotion feels foreign. It feels like their heart is speaking louder than their mind, and they're not used to listening to it. There are things happening in their external world that keep pulling them back to you. Maybe it's small coincidences that feel too perfectly timed. Maybe it's random memories that pop up when they least expect it. Maybe it's people asking about you or bringing up topics related to relationships and love. Every time something like this happens, it hits them in a sensitive place. It reminds them of what they've been trying not to feel. They may have convinced themselves that they were fine, that the distance didn't matter, that they could move on or suppress whatever this connection stirred inside them. But lately, that story isn't holding up anymore. Something deeper is pushing to be acknowledged. It's like their subconscious is louder now, like their inner world refuses to stay quiet. There have likely been moments when they almost reached out to you, moments when they stared at your name on their phone, moments when they imagined hearing your voice or seeing your face. They may have replayed conversations in their head, wondering how things would go if they spoke to you again. But every time they get close to taking action, fear steps in. It's not just fear of rejection, it's fear of exposure. They're afraid that if they talk to you, everything they've been holding back will surface. They're afraid they won't be able to hide what they truly feel. They're afraid that standing in front of you will strip away the mask they've been wearing. And vulnerability feels dangerous to them. So instead of moving forward, they pause. Instead of speaking, they stay silent. Right now, they don't fully have the words to explain what's happening inside them. Even if they tried, it would come out messy or incomplete. They are still processing. They are still understanding. And that takes time. What's powerful about this phase is that it's changing them from the inside out. They're becoming more emotionally aware, even if they don't consciously realize it. They're starting to notice their patterns. They're beginning to reflect on past decisions. They're questioning why they reacted the way they did. They're slowly connecting the dots between their fear and their feelings. This inner shift is softening them. They may be experiencing stronger intuition than usual. They may feel guided in subtle ways. They may sense your energy unexpectedly. It could feel like you crossed their mind out of nowhere, or like your presence lingers around them in quiet moments. They might not call it spiritual. They might not even understand it. But something is awakening. And here's the deeper truth: this awakening is making them more powerful, not weaker. When someone who has been emotionally guarded starts to open their heart, it's not a small change. It's transformative. They are learning to sit with emotions instead of running from them. They are beginning to accept that feeling deeply doesn't make them less strong, it makes them more human. At the same time, there has been a shift between you. You may have stepped back. You may have chosen peace instead of pursuit. You may have decided not to force communication or chase clarity. And that decision, even if it was painful, created space. Space for you to grow. Space for them to feel. Your silence has spoken louder than any argument ever could. When you removed yourself from constantly trying to fix or push the connection forward, it forced them to confront their own emotions without distraction. It's like the balance changed. Where once you may have been carrying the emotional awareness, now they are being asked to carry it too. Life has a strange way of delivering messages when someone needs to learn something. Sometimes it comes through a random conversation. Sometimes through a comment from a stranger. Sometimes through a situation that mirrors exactly what they're going through internally. They might hear someone talk about love and suddenly feel uncomfortable. They might see a couple and feel a pang in their chest. They might experience something that reflects the very dynamic they've been avoiding. And in those moments, something clicks. They start to realize this connection isn't ordinary. It's not something they can categorize and move on from easily. It has depth. It has meaning. And whether they admit it out loud or not, they feel that. The feeling that they can't face you right now isn't about not caring. It's about not being ready. It's about needing time to understand who they are becoming. They sense that if they stand in front of you again, it won't be the same. It won't be surface level. It will require honesty. It will require emotional presence. And they don't want to show up halfway. This silence between you is not empty. It's full of growth, full of reflection, full of unseen transformation. While you focus on your own healing and stability, they are being gently pushed toward emotional maturity. They are learning what it means to feel without running. They are learning that avoiding the heart only creates more chaos internally. There may still be hesitation. There may still be moments where they doubt themselves. But something inside them is changing permanently. They can't go back to being unaware. They can't unfeel what they're feeling now. You may not see the process happening. You may not hear from them. But that doesn't mean nothing is shifting. In fact, the most important changes often happen in silence. Their heart is opening. Their awareness is expanding. And even if they don't fully understand it yet, they are waking up to the truth of this connection. Little by little, layer by layer, they are being guided toward clarity. This phase may feel slow. It may feel uncertain, but it is meaningful. Because when someone who once resisted emotion begins to feel deeply, that is not a small thing. That is transformation. And transformation always begins quietly, in the unseen spaces, in the still moments, in the silence that feels heavy but sacred at the same time. Something real is happening within them. And when they finally gather the courage to step forward again, they won't be the same version of themselves that walked away. You really thought they weren't feeling this. You convinced yourself they weren't that deep, not that emotional, not that spiritually aware. Maybe you even said it clearly that they seemed disconnected, closed off, or unable to meet you where you were. But here's what's shifting now. They are determined to prove you wrong. There's a bold transformation happening inside this person. On the outside, it may still look calm or even distant, but internally, something powerful has been activated. At some point, you spoke your truth. You expressed how their behavior affected you. You may have pointed out their emotional walls, their avoidance, or the way they struggled to open up. And even if they didn't respond the way you expected in that moment, your words stayed with them. That moment became a turning point. Before, they were able to ignore their emotions. They could push their feelings aside, distract themselves, or convince themselves it wasn't that serious. They may have leaned heavily on logic, pride, or control. But now, something has shifted. It's like a switch flipped inside them. The emotions they once avoided are now impossible to ignore. The depth of this connection is sitting with them in a way that demands attention. What's happening is growth, real growth. They are slowly connecting with the part of themselves that feels deeply. The softer side, the intuitive side, the side that doesn't just think about love but experiences it fully. This isn't easy for them. It requires vulnerability. It requires admitting that this connection affected them more than they were willing to show. But they are stepping into that space now, even if it's uncomfortable. There may have been an intense conversation between you two that sparked all of this. Maybe emotions ran high. Maybe truths were revealed. Maybe things were said that couldn't be taken back. That exchange triggered something much bigger than either of you realized at the time. It shifted the energy. It forced reflection. It created awareness. Since then, they've been processing behind the scenes. In their everyday life, reminders of you keep appearing. Someone mentions relationships, and it makes them think of you. A random memory surfaces at the most unexpected time. It feels like your presence lingers around them, even in silence. They can't escape the reflection of what this connection meant. There was definitely a pause between you, a delay. Something slowed down the momentum. Maybe plans didn't happen. Maybe communication faded. Maybe they pulled back because they didn't feel emotionally ready to face you. Not because they didn't care, but because they didn't fully understand themselves. Now they're beginning to understand. The more they listen to their inner voice, the more they soften emotionally, the more they feel the need to express what they've been holding in. They want to talk. They want to explain. They want to show you that they are capable of emotional depth. They don't want the final impression you have of them to be someone who didn't feel enough. And here's what truly changed everything. You stepped back. You stopped pushing. You stopped forcing clarity. You allowed space. The space created room for them to sit with their emotions without distraction. And when there's no noise, no pressure, no chase, truth becomes louder. The communication may have been delayed, but it doesn't feel canceled. There is a strong sense of return here, a sense of unfinished energy that refuses to fade. This is someone who wants to show growth, not just speak about it. They want their actions to reflect the internal transformation they've gone through. They are determined, not out of ego, but out of realization. They don't want you believing they were incapable of love, awareness, or depth. They want you to see the version of them that has faced their emotions and grown from them. And because you allowed the process to unfold naturally, you're about to witness the proof.